able to.
Okay.
Let's see. Finally, all right, we're moving and grooving, everyone. Okay, so Teams meeting, webinar, town halls, that's what we're going to talk about today. And then at the end, I'll do a demonstration, a little bit of Copilot, and show you how you can create these events and how you can interact with them using Copilot, both the paid version and the free version. So, and before I keep going, Jordan, do you have a question? Or can you hear? I see your hands up. We'll keep it moving. Okay, so this is just a brief overview of the different ways you can create virtual events within Microsoft. So there are meetings, which are essential for collaboration and communication within teams. So that's our small groups. Those are one-off events that maybe we need to talk to our manager, maybe we need to talk to our project team. That's when we're going to use a meeting. And there's webinars, which are online presentations where we're going to try to engage a broader audience, and we want to interact with that audience, but it's more informational. And then lastly, there's town halls. Now, town halls are more for organization leaders to have a big, broad event, and there's not that chat interface interaction. The most that you can do is a Q&A, and that's to keep the content concise. So let's talk about the key features of Teams meetings. So kind of like I mentioned before, best for a smaller. You can't see anymore? Okay.
Wasn't up there to begin with.
Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I thought you were seeing this. Okay, hold on one second.
And I think that's what they're doing.
If you just drag it to the other monitor.
Yeah, drag it to the monitor.
Yeah, I got you. This one right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Easy enough. Okay, you didn't miss anything pretty, so here we go. Okay, so participants. So meetings typically when you need to interact with each other via voice, video, chat, and they can support up to 11,000 participants, but only the first 1,000 can actually interact with you through audio and video. Everyone else can just join through a link and witness, but rarely will you need that situation. Joining flexibility, so anyone can join a Teams meeting without needing a Teams account. They just need the link or an audio call. And then channel meetings. I'm going to show you guys how to do this a little later today. What I like about channel meetings is the fact that everyone's invited, everyone can see the invitation, and I think it's a good way to consolidate information into one place because we have a bunch of one-off meetings. But once you start implementing Copilot and you're wanting those recordings and maybe that in one repository, a channel meeting is a good way to go about that. And then there's Teams Premium features. So Teams Premium is an advanced license, and it allows you just different functionality within Teams meetings. So for example, that would be like watermarking content. You could add that. You could do a customized background. You can do a meeting theme. So when people log in, they're in the lobby, they have a theme in the background, which is pretty cool. And that's pretty much the Teams Premium palette. There's a link on this next page here. If you want to learn more about all of the different resources, how to start one, how to schedule one, and then different participant settings, you can visit these links. I'm going to share the deck at the end of this presentation. So now we're going on to webinars. So webinars are structured events where participants have very clear roles. And a key difference between webinars and Teams meetings is that webinars support robust registration management, customizable event and registration site. So if you, maybe some of you have or have not been joining our 6-week Copilot webinar series that we're hosting right now, that has that customized event registration page, emails that blast out when you've registered, when you've canceled, reminding you the meeting's starting, those kind of features and functionalities. And webinars support up to 1,000 attendees. And that's more for like that large scale participation. And there's advanced Teams Premium features where you can decide whether event organizers and co-organizers can edit emails for their webinars, email templates, co-organizers and organizers can manage wait lists, remind attendees about the webinars they're registered for, and other some pretty cool features. Again, here's training and descriptions that you can reference after this call today. And then lastly, we have town halls. Now, I don't imagine many of us will be hosting a town hall unless we have the CIO or the chief of staff with us in the room today, but in the event that you do, they can be pretty impactful. So town halls are ideal for limited presenters addressing large audiences without direct interaction. And for these event formats, attendees don't use their cameras or mics, but rather Q&A, like I said before, and they currently support up to 10,000 attendees. But with that Teams premium license that I've been talking about, you could support up to 50,000. And this link here, the Teams premium overview and licensing, that'll tell you which features come out of the box with Town Hall and which features are advanced. So with Teams, you actually have the ability to manage who can create meetings, webinars, and town halls. And the reason you might want to do this is, let's say you want to allow people in marketing to create meetings, but only other people do, or you want them to create webinars, but only other people do meetings or those more small events. And then anyone invited can attend these types of meetings, but only those who specify can actually create them. So you do have that flexibility in terms of policy creation. And then here, just step-by-step instructions of how to run those. And these are just some best practices for hosting virtual events. So number one is just making sure you're planning your agenda carefully to cover all of the key topics. Two, you want to make sure that you engage your participants with Q&As or polls, things of that nature. I'm going to show you a few examples of those here in a little bit. And then ensure all the technology is tested and functioning before the event. We did that yesterday, and even still, we had some issues. So doubling down is super important. Another helpful tip is assigning a moderator. So this is someone who's going to be in the chat, answering questions, making sure things are going smoothly, letting me know if I'm muted, things like that. And then also following up with attendees post-event for feedback and additional resources. It's always good to make sure that people have access to recordings, decks, and any questions that might have been left unanswered are addressed. Okay, now the fun stuff. I can show you guys a demo. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So, got my Outlook. So for this demonstration, I'm going to start in my Outlook. Let me share my screen. Okay. Good, we can all see everything that we need to see. Awesome. Okay, so this is an email thread going back and forth with some of my internal team members talking about creating descriptions for all the different sessions that we were going to be hosting today. Now, let's just say hypothetically that this is something that we probably need to talk about in a meeting. I can go up here to schedule with Copilot. And what it's then going to do is automatically populate a summary of the conversation so far and an agenda for what we'd be talking about. Now, that's pretty helpful. I know we all join a lot of meetings throughout the day, and more often than not, they are not stacked with an agenda. So having this taken care of for you to kind of guide that conversation is really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. Then I'm going to go right here and click Find a Time. And this is going to help me figure out when everyone is mostly available. And once I find something I like, George and Caitlin don't necessarily need to be a part of this call. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. I can send that out. Easy peasy. Now, let's just say that I need to schedule a one-on-one with my manager. We have a lot we need to talk about. So in this instance, I'm going to say, help me schedule a meeting with my boss. Now, what's wonderful about Copilot is the fact that I can just say my boss and it knows who I'm talking about. That is the power of the graph. It has access to my policies, my permissions, my organizational structure, Teams meetings, emails, files, all of that. So it was able to figure out that this is my manager. Now I could just blast that off, schedule a one-on-one, or I can edit it. For the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and edit it because I want to let her know what we're going to be talking about. So I am going to draft with Copilot, and I'm going to say, draft an agenda to discuss my performance, my career development, and professional feedback. This will help me understand my progress, identify areas of growth, and then it went ahead and made the agenda. Now, if I want to make it maybe sound a little more friendly, maybe say sound professional and appreciative of her time. Typos don't matter. It's going to get what I'm trying to say. Thank you for your time and valuable insights. Now, this is a very good example of doing brief, simple prompts, probably going to get something simple in return. When you add a little bit more length to it is when you're going to get something perhaps a little bit more detailed. For the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and keep it, send that off. So that's just a little bit of a taste of how you can work with Copilot in terms of scheduling meetings. But now let's focus on what we can do once a meeting has happened. Share my screen again. So I'm going to go back to a webinar that we did last week. And I have this option down here, it's called recap. So I'm going to click view recap. And immediately you can see that I have an AI summary that was produced. And it automatically populates the meeting notes, some high-level topics that we covered. It shows me when I was mentioned throughout this engagement. It has the transcript. And if we happen to take any notes, which we didn't, that would be through a loop component, and that would be notes that we took on our own during the meeting. So this is the AI summary that's pre-populated, and this comes with the Teams Premium feature. So if I have access to a Teams Premium license and I record my call, this is what I'm going to see. I can see the topics covered, chapters, and who spoke when. Now, if I want to take it a step further, I can open up Copilot. And now I can ask Copilot a couple questions. Now, I interacted with this last night for the sake of saving us some time. So let's go through a few of the things I asked. I said, list the main ideas we discussed. It created these main ideas for me. It talked about hybrid court solutions with Copilot integration. And what's wonderful about this too is it's sourcing where it got this information. So if I want to go watch that particular part or maybe check the transcript, I can. Now I'm going to ask it something a little more complex. Explain how hybrid court solutions enhance Microsoft Teams. It even showed me the image with which we covered that information and the source of where it got that image, which is pretty incredible. Now, hypothetically, I want to share all this information with you all because we covered a lot and there are things that you want to take back with you for your own learning. So I'm going to draft a follow-up to the attendees of the webinar, summarizing the key topics that we covered. And it created an email for me with a subject line, covered all of the highlights. And if I like this, I can copy it, throw it into Outlook, send it all to you. And then lastly, I said, were there any action items for me in this meeting? And it originally said there were no explicit action items assigned to you. However, you mentioned sending another blast of registration links for upcoming sessions, which could be considered an action item. I would definitely consider that an action item. So I went ahead and followed up and I said, list all the action items mentioned in this meeting. And that was the only thing that came back. So I know that that was the only thing that I said I needed to do. Now, we're going to create a webinar. So if I wanted to do that, I would go over here to create a new event, and I would click on webinar. So for this, I'm going to say, we're creating a webinar for this event happening now, the NCDIT Innovation Day. We can do a start date, end date, all that good stuff, change time zones. But I need a description. So I'm going to go ahead and call in Copilot's help to draft this description because I need to get this done quickly. So I'm going to go open my Copilot chat interface. And I'm going to start a new chat. And here it is. Copy that prompt. So this is a long prompt, okay? I happen to have the different events that we were going to do, copy and pasted from an email. But if I had that saved in a Word document or something, I could have uploaded the Word document. I was being lazy, so I just copy and pasted. And this was the prompt. I said, I am hosting an on-site training session that covers these key topics. Insert large amount of key topics, in quotes. And once we get to the bottom of that, I say, based on the above topics and descriptions, please draft a brief paragraph promoting what will be covered during the training. Make it sound like an exciting opportunity. And then I click generate. Awesome. Okay, I like that. I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to put it in my webinar description because I think that's good. Now I need to promote this on LinkedIn. So I'm going to say, adapt this to be a LinkedIn promotion. And now it's created it to be an invitation for me to post to social media. I can copy and paste that, post it there, and it'll ask me, would you like a graphic to go with this post or a shortened version for a teaser campaign? And it will give you suggested prompts, which is really nice. It's kind of like what Anna was showing earlier, that it's always going to help you make your prompt smarter. Another option would be, help me draft an agenda for this event. And now I can copy and paste that agenda into the webinar description as well if I would like. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go back into the webinar, and I'm just going to go through some of the meeting options that you have the capacity to play around with. So sensitivity labels can be provided to the meeting, and you have the ability to determine who can enter from the lobby. You also have recording options, so you can record and transcribe automatically. You can choose which language it's spoken in. Copilot options, but the point of me showing you this is just to know that you have a lot of control over the style of webinar that you're hosting and who has access to present, organize, etc. So down here, you'll add presenters from your org. If I had Planet joining us on this call, I would add them as an external presenter. And then we can go into, let's go ahead and save. Awesome. Okay. So you can go into presenter bios. This is where you can add presenters, make sure that you have something engaging and exciting about them. And then you have the ability to add themes. So I'm going to go ahead and add an NCDIT image since that is the event we're hosting. Which logo is it? Maybe it's this one. Awesome. So I'll save that. And then I can change the logo. Same thing. Add that here. Boom. Save. Here's where you can go through different registration configurations. Attendee status, you can see who signed up, when they signed up. This is all of the announcements that they're going to get when they register for an event. So you have the ability to customize these, whether that's waitlisting, pending approval, cancellation, rejection, all of that you have the capacity to edit. And then no reports yet because our meeting hasn't happened. But this is where you're going to publish the recording once the recording is done. And then let's just say hypothetically I want to have some more engagement within this webinar. Once I publish it, I can go through and add polls. It's just the app. You just click add polls. But I need help deciding what polls I'm going to do. I've decided I'm going to go recruit Copilot again. So I saved this prompt. So when I go to that little button down there, that's the prompt gallery. It's the Copilot prompt gallery. I have my own prompt saved. And this one I saved. It's draft me or help me draft poll questions for this event. I want to understand why attendees registered for the webinar and what they hope to learn. I'd also like to understand their level of understanding of AI. So I let Copilot know what I'm hoping to get out of these poll questions, and it created the polls for me. So now I can copy and paste this information, add it to the polls, and I've now created that engagement with my webinar attendees. And I'm getting insights and feedback that maybe I would have otherwise just tried to get through the chat. This is a more interactive way of gathering that information. What are you most excited to learn today? Which of the following tools do you use regularly? Rate your understanding of AI in the workplace. Really, really helpful tool. So that's how we can use Copilot with webinars. I'm going to go ahead and exit this. I'm trying to move my face out of the way. There we go. Now I'm going to show you what scheduling a town hall looks like. Very similar interface, very easy to use, but a lot less detail, a lot less customization because this is going to be a very black and white. There's an organizer. There's a few people who are able to speak. Everyone else is off. So you have the ability to set up theming. Let's save our details. Let's see, I'm the organizer, town hall.
That's a good question.
Yeah, so please.
You're going to have that published to LinkedIn. Did you have to teach about LinkedIn, or was it incorporated in already?
I did not have to teach it about LinkedIn. It knows about different social media. Yeah, bless you. It knows about different social media. It knows the format of typically how things are posted. It adds its hashtags already. And if there was something I wanted different, like add a few more icons or remove a few icons, add some more hashtags, it'll adjust accordingly.
And is that true for the free version or just the licensed version?
That was interacting in the free version. Yep. Yeah, there's the best part about the free version really is the ability to content create, summarize, and extract insights. While you're not able to do it directly in the application, you're still, like when I say application, I mean Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook. You're still able to get some really good content that you can copy and paste into other places, which I think is pretty impactful. Let's see why this isn't working. So down here, you can do in-meeting chat only. I could turn it off, allow Q&A, allow attendance report, just from my organization. Saved. Do we have any other questions in the meeting?
Can you convert a meeting to a webinar? So like if you've already made one better as this, you switch, or would you just need to recreate it?
You can recreate it, but or you would have to recreate it, I believe. But what you can do is if you have multiple webinars, you can copy the event. So it'll keep the same format and everything you've done thus far. You could just go in and change it after.
So when it gets published, you said you showed a screen and you said this is where our communications team usually does this, so I'm learning this, so I'll know how to do it myself. You said when it gets published, it's going to show up here. Somehow he converts it to YouTube. I guess that's something totally outside of this, right? Like when it's published, it's a type of.
Yes, it's a stream. Yes, so when it publishes into the chat, it's uploaded to stream. So that's where you're viewing it, or in the team section. You do have the ability to convert videos, but I don't typically do that. There's a lot of access management that goes into sharing video files. Even sharing recordings with you all is sometimes challenging. But yes, that is possible.
It's a stream. Okay.
Like for instance, all of these are recorded and they're going to be uploaded to the NCDIT events page once all the sessions are concluded.
Thank you.
No problem. This is the same as what you saw earlier. You have the event invitation, event recording available. This is how you can control recordings. And then when you publish the event, it's going to create a website. So I'm going to show you an example. I guess I can't edit that one anymore because it already happened. I'm gonna edit this. Show you. This is what the published website looks like for the 6-week webinar series that I'm hosting currently with Planet Technologies. So this is the description section that we worked on. This is where it goes. And this is where you can see the speakers and their bios if I added any. This is the event. This is how you register. And I only required first name, last name, email. You can actually add things like you have to answer this open-ended question if you want to fully register. And that's a good way to get insights from your people joining as well. Okay. Lastly, I just want to show you creating a meeting in a channel, and then I'll open it up for some Q&A. So kind of what we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of benefits to operating within a channel. I'm in one called DIT, and I'm going to go over here to this drop down. I'm going to do schedule a meeting. And I can make it a recurring meeting. This is where it's going to be posted. I'm going to send personal invites. So that way everyone in this channel is going to get invited to this event. And I can add the meeting location. I can explicitly make sure it's a Teams meeting. I can add an agenda. And when I click that add an agenda button, it actually creates a loop component that uploads into the meeting. So if we're taking notes and talking during the meeting and we're delegating tasks, that will be tracked within the loop component. You can add that here and everyone has access to it. But what's great about interacting within those channels is when a file is shared, it exists in that channel. So everyone has access to the same thing. It's creating cohesion. Like what we were talking about earlier, when Ash was speaking about there's now data in emails, there's now data in chats. It's making sure that we consolidate that data and we're working as a unit. That way anyone on a project management team is not getting left behind. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you. I forgot my little thing is up right here. Okay. So let's say I want to plan a meeting. New event. And this is going to be an end of year planning meeting. So like end of year celebration with my team. Oh, hello. I keep accidentally typing on this keyboard down here instead of my laptop. Okay. End of year celebration planning meeting. So I want to acknowledge all the hard work that we did this year. So I'm going to invite my boss and my coworker, John. And I'm going to find a time for us to meet. Okay, that looks like a good time for all of us. This feature is in public preview. This is Facilitator. And Facilitator is actually a personal note taker that's integrated into your team's meetings. You have to have either a co-pilot or, no, you have to have a co-pilot license for this one. And you can add it to a meeting, and it's going to let you know when you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes left of a meeting. It's going to summarize all of your notes for you. Similar to that AI summary generation, except it's actively taking notes rather than just like summarizing things later. Anyway, something that I think is pretty cool here is I can insert a loop component. Since I know that we're going to be doing some project management and delegation, maybe John's going to be covering getting the cake and Jen's going to be covering doing the awards. I'm going to insert a task list. And this is already integrated into the meeting for us. So when I launch that meeting, I can open this up and start interacting with it, and Jen and John are both going to have access to it. And I will assign them tasks. That is just about it, I think, that I had on webinars, town halls, channel meeting walkthrough. Yeah, that's about it. We have just a few minutes left. I wanted to open it up to the virtual attendees and all of you if you have any questions, anything you're curious if Copilot can do. Okay.
I had one about like, can it do anything with the rosters afterwards, because I do training, and then I like to sometimes make sure that like attended for at least a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Also, like a recent event we had, some of the people, it was like last name comma first, and then some of it was first name last. So if I was going to use that for report, I had to do a lot of cleanup.
Yeah.
Is there a way that I could use that to?
One thought I have is, you know how you can export those attendance lists to Excel? Using Copilot in Excel to do that data cleanup and inquiry. Like, how long did this person join the meeting? When did they drop? That would be one way to do it. I'm gonna see if maybe I can ask Copilot if a meeting I've previously joined and participated in, if they can tell me, if Copilot can tell me how long were they in the call. Let's see. You recap, I'll share my screen, sorry. It might not, I've never tried that before, but we'll all have learned something new today if it can. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up Copilot. I'm gonna see. How long was, oh, I did it again, y'all. Help me. How long was Anna in the meeting? Let's see. It's moving slow on me right now. Someone's updating something or fixing a bug. All right, I don't want to wait that long. I'm going to try again. Yeah, it looks like it's still loading over here.
I did get that information out of Teams, not through Copilot, but only when they showed me how to do this one time. And when I did it, I was able to get how long they were in, and I think it said last log, and there was a lot of information in there. But if I didn't create it, I couldn't get that information.
Yes.
I couldn't get, that's why I'm here, because I want to get my own stuff. I don't want to have to ask him for it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, that is really the best part about having the licensing is having the autonomy to inquire and get the questions that you have answered. This is taking too long right now. Probably just need to let Teams chill out for a second. Normally doesn't take this long, so something's not working, but I'll test it out and let you know if it's possible when it decides to load. In the meantime, yeah, see, had trouble loading the content from the meeting, so it's just taking a second to catch up to us. Do we have any other questions?
If I have Copilot enabled on my Teams and I create a meeting or a webinar, would anybody that joins that one have access to Copilot for that meeting, or it's dependent on their individual Microsoft license or however they're joining?
Dependent on the individual Microsoft license.
Okay.
So if I'm recording, I have a license, I'm recording the call, I have access to do Copilot after the fact, or even during the meeting, I can ask Copilot questions, catch me up. But if someone else in the call does not have a license, they cannot do that. And it also depends on who's organizing the meeting. So I could still have a Copilot license, but NCDIT is hosting the meeting and they're the ones recording. I can't go use Copilot to interact with that after the fact. Yeah, that's restricted access. Oh, yes.
So I was thinking about the PowerPoint Live and the speaker coach in PowerPoint Live. Am I saying that? Is that what it's called? Can it help you when can it do both things? Like, can Copilot in Teams meeting, like even if you stop sharing your PowerPoint, can it also give you feedback on the speaker's skills?
Help me understand the question again.
So let's say you're doing a webinar and you want the speaker coach to help you and give you feedback afterward, but you only use PowerPoint Live for, say, 30 of the minutes, because then other times you cut it off and spoke to directly, or you led a discussion or something. It's only going to give you speaker coach stuff for the part that was PowerPoint.
I think you can get speaker coach stuff for your entire meeting, like just generally, like any time that you were delivering a message through Teams.
That'd be great for instructors. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I also, just side note, not sure, because I just learned what Loop was like 2 days ago, so there might be other people who don't know what you meant when you said Loop.
Totally. Loop is, I think, one of our like underutilized tools. I think of it as a project management tool or some sort of like visualizer or planner that is integrated into your Office applications. So for instance, like I kept showing in Teams, and I can assign people tasks using Loop, and it will go to their inbox and let them know. It'll let them know even when I've updated something in that project. I can show you an example of what that looks like on our end, because we did obviously a lot of planning and preparation for today. So let me pull that Loop up and then I'll share my screen. So, where's our meeting? Here it is. Okay. Hello. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay. So, Naveen, he mentioned me in our Loop component. So, I'm going to open this Loop up. And you can access this through the Office portal. Just go to one of your apps, Loops here. And this is how we've all been planning who's in charge of what. So this tags me. This is like my alias at Microsoft. So I'm notified when I have tasks, what room I'm in, who is my room buddy. You can create new loops. There's a ton of different templates that you can use. Let's see, like a new one. I don't know if I want to go through all of this. Let's see. You can add sensitivity labels, share your space. That's what Naveen did with me. Click create. And then I can actually use Copilot in here. So I'm going to use a loop template. And these are the type of templates we have. So we have team decision, project planning, meeting notes, brainstorms, Kanban board, problem framing, issue tracker. It's basically a collaborative way to interact, brainstorm, whiteboard, so to speak, with your peers in real time. So this is an example of what a project brief template looks like. And I can edit it with Copilot. So set up a page based on project brief. Add instructions. I could add, or maybe I can't reference files. Maybe that's not here yet. But yes, that's what loop look like. Does that make sense? This is available to anyone. Everyone should have access to Loop with their M365 license. Yeah, it's a great project management platform. We also have Planner in Teams, which is basically like another task management to-do list interface that you can work with.